before we get there, I think we should talk about some positive things with another team you support, with your San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I think we get the negative out of the way. They offered, Smitty already pointed out, Otani already had determined he was going to the Dodgers because the Giants offered him $700 million. So, and he said, "No, I'm going to the Dodgers instead." So
Yeah.
again, this was like this is another somewhat depressing moment for Giant fans, as we were pawns in the Aaron Judge
Mm.
game. Of the year before, and it's like we always seem to keep losing out on that big name. But they signed Korean superstar Jung Hoo Lee almost immediately, within days of the Otani deal being announced. They signed him. He's 24 years old. He's got fluctuating power numbers, but his overall play his numbers are really solid coming out of Korea.
He's an OBP guy. I mean, he's I've heard comparisons to Ichiro. He also wears number 51, I think, because that's his favorite player of all time, potentially. But
Yeah,
he's a leadoff hitter, isn't he?
his lifetime OPS is 898. His lifetime OBP is 407.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he has had some crazy power numbers too. Like for a leadoff guy, 2 years ago he hit 23 homers and drove in 113.
I know
So
Do you know much about the Korean baseball league? I don't know. I know like the Japanese league, the stadiums are a little bit smaller, so power numbers don't translate quite as well here. Just
right,
because the stadiums are a little bit bigger and the ball's a little bit smaller in Japan too, I think.
right.
I don't know how that compares in Korea, but
Yeah, and I all this stuff, like when someone comes over, I mean, like I think obviously it's used as a measuring stick on the player's ability to be successful in the
yeah,
major leagues in American baseball. But I
we're gonna have to
it
see.
looks good, but I could be away. It could turn into a bust. I mean,
Yeah, it could be
and
Fukudomi from the Cubs,
yeah,
or it could be Suzuki. Who
and
knows?
And the other thing is, it could be a bust the first year, and then it could be great after that. So, like
Yeah,
we've seen that. We've seen players come over the first year. They feel like the stress of
getting
having to
acclimated to a
produce,
new culture, all that.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and they have like a average first year, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what a waste of money!" And then all of a sudden, it's like, "Oh yeah, that's the
well,
guy."
think about how often just an American free agent
Yep.
changes cities, and how that pressure to perform is it seems to happen a lot to new free
Tech
agents.
Texas Rangers last year,
Yeah,
Marcus Simeon. I mean, he looked like, wow, what a waste of money. Well,
it
that
had
was not the case this year.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, just add to that, coming to a new country with a new language, all of that, like how that's just, I just can't
Yeah.
imagine how difficult that whole process would be. But it's got $113 million to help him through that. It was
Yeah,
a
he'll be, yeah, not too
6-year
bad.
deal. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think it was 6 years.
There
Yeah.
might be a
6 years.
seventh option, but
There's an option, a couple options in there, I
he
think.
does have the coolest nickname I've heard in a while: Grandson of the Wind.
Yes, it's up on our graphic right here, right
Right?
now.
Well
Perfect
played.
timing.
For
If
those watching on
viewing,
YouTube,
you're viewing this.
yeah. So apparently, his father was a Korean baseball legend, nicknamed "Son of Wind." So, of course, uh, what's his name? Kung Hoo Lee. I forget how their names work. Lee is the surname, but they have the same first name, but the middle name is different. I forget how that works.
What you got me.
Never mind. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
let's
he
move
comes
on.
from baseball royalty
All
in
right.
Korea.
Sounds,
So
I believe you.
grandson of Win was my point. So
Breaking the wind. Other than that, there's not a ton to talk about for the Giants right now. I think they were so in. I mean, I really do believe they were obviously talking to Otani. I think if you were a West Coast team
yeah,
outside of the Athletics, and maybe the Angels. I mean, I heard the Angels obviously did not make any sort of offer anywhere near that amount of money, but I'm sure, they were listening, or they were like, listening in and seeing if
They were in the
if they were
conversation, but
in the conversation somewhere. But I think, the Giants were so focused on that this is obviously their backup plan was to sign Lee. So they just immediately did that afterwards. And, the free agent market as a whole, at least for our teams outside of the Tigers, who've made a lot of acquisitions and whatnot, have been pretty quiet, and a lot of big names overall in Major League Baseball. I think I read the other day there's $8.1 billion in salaries still yet to be like
I saw
signed or
something along
something.
those lines. Yeah, I
Yeah,
forget how
something
that
crazy. It was
works.
Passan, I think, posted it
Yeah.
because there was like there was like a bunch of teams that have bunch of teams that are supposed to be active that have a big old zero next to that team name so far. So everyone's being like, don't worry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of action to still happen.
We're gonna get to that.
Word Hole Media.